Mike, when you've got these prominent players like a Michael Crabtree or Graham Harrell or Deion Buchanan or now Luke Falk, and you're just trying to get them to focus on the rest of the season one game at a time, how difficult is it, or how frustrating is it when there are these outside influences who, for their own reasons, want to talk about the NFL draft or agents or anything like that?
I ignore it. Let's see. I ignore it. Players that don't ignore it, then I play somebody else. And then at Texas Tech, I had a bounty on agents, $500 for information contributing to the arrest and conviction of an agent, and banned them from our building. And it hadn't been a problem here, but if it gets to be a problem, I'll probably post a sign on this building and offer a bounty again. Yeah, you just ignore and move forward, you know.
Do you think the NCAA's efforts to curtail agents are effective?
Not particularly, just partially. I think they're partially effective.
How would you grade Luke as someone who eliminates distractions and focuses on the task at hand?
Good, better than the vast majority of people I've coached.
Coach, after the ASU game, you said we need to do a better job protecting Luke Falk. After watching the tape with Oregon, how do you think you matched up with that Arizona postgame statement?
What's that?
After we need to do a better job protecting Luke after Arizona, and seeing the tape from Oregon, how do you think you?
How do we protect him?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I think we always have to improve at it. I think you got to constantly improve on protection, and I think we still got to improve.
Do you feel like the line stepped up and did a better job, more comfortable with that?
I think some guys did, some didn't. I think I think we're still. There's a saying that good's the enemy of great. I think we feel like we're good on the offensive line. I think there needs to be a higher level of urgency to push to be great. We can't be satisfied with good, and I think there's too much of a temptation to do that.
How did EJ hold up in that first half, do you think?
He was okay. I didn't think he was bad. I think, and the thing is he, when he gets in games, he does a good job, and I thought he did a pretty good job other than the false start. I think he's a good, solid player, and I think he can. As a matter of fact, this week, him and Middleton are going to compete for playing time. So this week, Middleton and Salmonson will compete for playing time, and I'm going to take one of these cough drops if it's all the same to you. I just thought I'd ask, but then also Sorensen and Fred are going to compete for playing time, and we might play both of them.
Mike, you've done this before in the past, where you've huddled around your players and talked to them about picking things up. I'm sure not the language we can use over the air, but what is it about these moments that you need to realign your group, and did you sense that early on that your team just wasn't ready to meet the intensity of Oregon State early?
Well, anytime you have a whole group effort and there's all kinds of moving parts, you want everybody focus the same direction. So, sometimes, if thinking gets scattered and people get frustrated or whatever, you need to just bring everybody together, get everything settled down, get it focused in, and go out and do it,
Where did you pick up that technique? Was that something that you've done throughout your coaching career? Did you bring it here or started here?
I've done it. I've done it for years. I've done it over the years. Where did I pick it up? Basketball coaches, maybe. They do it all the time,
You feel like it psychologically has...
Well, I think timeouts, everybody acts like these timeouts are basically like a bucket of gold or something, Timeouts are to be used and more teams die with timeouts than ever use them. And the thing is if you can regroup your team or stop a drive or reignite a drive or something, I mean, that's a timeout that's well used. And offensively, it's fairly easy to stop the clock. Defensively, it's hard to stop the clock. But and I think timeouts are best used on defense. But you know, if you got something to say to your team, call timeout and say it. You know.
Coach, you've had a knack for making comeback wins. A few years ago, down 21-0 at Utah. I saw the stat in 2004 at Texas Tech. You guys were down 21-0 to, I think it was TCU, came back won 70-35.
Oh, no, we were way down to those jokers. How about that? What a nightmare that was.
How is that experience? How do you just regather everyone and just make kind of some of those big comeback victories?
I think the biggest thing is everybody just keep doing their job, you know. I mean, focus and keep doing your job. I mean, we've already all agreed we're going to be there for 60 minutes. Also, we've emphasized all week that we're going to play as hard as we can, so nobody's really going anywhere. So you might as well invest your time, continue to invest your time to play the best you can. I don't think that typically people play better. I don't think typically, I mean, they might play better than they had earlier in the game, but it's not like there's just some tremendous rise as much as collectively everybody does their job. I mean, everybody consistently plays as good as they can, and you just kind of let the consistent surge of everybody doing their job take care of itself. I don't think there's, like, I'm not a huge believer in, everybody can think of all the plays you want, you know, the catch where the 49ers beat the Cowboys. I mean, just think of all of them, but all the great plays. You can think anything from a great tennis shot to a great golf shot. I mean, for the most part, it's just somebody doing their job that in a tight pressure situation just does it again. I mean, if you can do it with nobody there, I mean, what's the magic number? You know, so if you can do it with nobody there, okay, can you do it with one person there? How about 10? Okay, how about 100? I mean, what's the difference, you know? And then time, down, distance, none of that. There shouldn't be any difference to that either. And so, you know, I think the most important thing is just everybody stay together and just focus on their job together. And typically, the reason you're in those binds to begin with is because you haven't done as good a job of that as you might have.
Coach, were you at the APIC, the Asian Pacific Islander Coalition, held a press conference this morning? Did you know?
Who's that?
The Asian Pacific Islander Coalition. Jack Thompson was there. Senator Bumgardner was there from Spokane. They spoke really in length about the Barber situation. Were you aware of any of that?
No. I mean, I know that he's got a lot of support out there. I know Robert's got a lot of support out there, and he's got my support. But I know that there's a lot of different branches and people that feel like he deserves justice.
His attorney is saying that on Wednesday they'll make a decision to file a review petition in the Superior Court here in Woodland County. Not sure what the implications are of that, not being a legal expert, but if something like that was to happen and we could see some sort of process take place where forgive me, I'm really not really well versed in legalese, but should he somehow get this petition, would you accept him back on the team with the drama still taking place off field and the back and forth that would be taking place between the conduct board and maybe Superior Court in Woodland County, things like that?
No question I'd play him, and the thing about it is you have an incident where everybody agrees 80 to 100 people were involved in a fight there, and the only guys they've arrested is Robert Barber and T.J. Fajoko. So I have 80 to 100 reasons why this isn't 100% fair. and those are the only two being scrutinized. And so I have a serious problem with that. And so yes, if allowed to, I would play Robert Barber.
In your experience with him, how is Elson in these situations?
What's that?
How is Elson Floyd in these situations?
I'm not going to draw comparisons on that.
Any questions on the line for Coach Leach?
Hey, Mike, do you feel like your team has sort of played up and down to the level of its opponents this year? And if so, how can you counteract that?
Well, I don't know. We've played better than the level of the last 6, and we got to play better than the level of the next one, I hope. I think there's always some ups and downs, and I think under the best of circumstances, anybody in the Pac-12 is very tough to play against. You know, are we looking for consistency? We're definitely searching for consistency. We're definitely searching for consistency. But, I mean, I can argue it both ways. I mean, you know, we've played way over our heads, and then there's times where we definitely could have played better, I think. You know, I think last week we definitely could have played better the first half, you know.
Would you say that the slow start last week is due to really different factors than the slow start maybe the first couple games then? Like, is it a different issue now?
I think of it more as consistency. Well, I mean, I think that, you know, it's always been a tough place to play, and they've played everybody tough at home this year, and we're no exception. And they're an explosive team, and they're a talented team too. I mean, they're every bit as talented as we are. Any notion that we're just some insane juggernaut of talent, I mean, that's not really the case. I mean, the best team wins, not the most talent wins, and so we're fighting like crazy to be the best team.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the line for Coach Leach? Okay, and back in the room.
Mike, how did the defensive front look without Robert there in your evaluation?
I thought we did some good stuff defensively. Certainly better the second half, you know.
Did the touchdowns that were scored in the first half, Dotson mentioned that it might have looked worse than it actually was. Was it just communication errors?
Well, I thought it looked horrible. I thought it was, I think, partially communication. It was a lack of execution, though. There's no question about that. And we didn't have that lack of execution in the second half, so of course the results were better.
Gabe Marks broke a touchdown record. What has he meant to this program? And obviously he's still climbing up some other record books as well.
Well, Gabe's just a real competitive guy. The other thing, Gabe had the opportunity to play and contribute very early. You know, I guess the biggest thing you can say is competitive. Always wants the ball, plays the ball in the air well. Has been an example to a lot of other receivers here, and so it's got a lot of balls as a result. So, yep, and we need him to catch a bunch more.
How special is that recruiting class that Gabe was a part of? Because I know when you came in, you're selling these players that things are going to turn around, and now here we are, back-to-back bowl games, and we don't even talk about the fact that you guys are going to a bowl game because there are bigger goals out there.
I don't know. I mean, it's fine, except for we're mostly interested in winning this next game because you get one game a week, and so we need to make the most out of this game.
Happy to finally be playing a day game after all those night games?
I didn't mind the night games. I actually think the best time for a game's 3 or 4. But you know, I didn't mind the night games. But you know, it's good to play at 1 too, so that'll be a good time.
Why 3 or 4? Anything?
Just the way the date kind of sequences. You're not hurrying. You know, you're not hurrying anywhere, and it's just kind of steady. And then you know, they get up a little later, kind of fresh, eat their breakfast, And really the sequence of the day, everything is, you know, it's not too drawn out, but it's not too drawn out, but it's not too quick. You know, 11 o'clock games are a nuisance, I think.
Coach, did you see the trick play that Halloumi called on Saturday?
No.
So it's a backwards pass, I think the backup quarterback, and then he punts it off an opposing player, and they fielded it and recovered it.
Okay, so
It wasn't supposed to be a punt, but it was a backwards pass, and
Okay.
the guy was about to get tackled, so he just punted it anyways.
Yeah.
It only went about 11 yards, but it bounced off a returned player, and they recovered it.
oh, so it counts as a punt where the dude touches it and they get the ball.
Yeah, so they got a first down out of
How
it.
about that? Wow. Well, you better have pretty good marksmanship on your punting. Huh. Well, there used to be the one. Now somebody will probably do it if I tell it. What was it? I can't think of the details. Let me think about this. It was, oh, yeah. I think it was Grant Taff who did this. I think it was Grant Taff who did this. So they'd line up to punt. They'd have it worked out with the backup punter on the sideline. So you could hear the boom of the foot hit the ball. And so they'd line up back there and you'd get a punter or a personal protector that could throw the ball real good. And you wanted to do it kind of as you're going in, so it looks like it's going into the end zone. And so you get a so the line stands up like this, snap it back, and at just the right time the backup punter gives the boom, you know, kicks the ball in the net, so you hear the boom of the punt. And then the guy back here just jacks that ball up as high as he possibly can. And then your gunners run down and catch the ball, and the returner doesn't feel threatened. You know, they're thinking punt, no big deal, you know, stay away, we'll let it roll in the end zone type of thing. And you let your gunner just run under and catch the ball, you know.
So the returner's trying to like fair catch the pass, or
Yeah, and the gunner just runs and catches it, you know. And they'd even had the sound effect, but I can't remember who did it. Somebody did it.
Speaking of special teams, there was a punt kind of on your own goal line late in the game. Is there any cause for concern with that going forward?
Yeah, he needs to catch it. He definitely needs to catch it. Misjudged the ball. Yeah. Well, we got to get better at it.
Coach, on the fake punt, was that by design or was that just?
No, total lack of communication. Definitely not by design. Neither was going for it on fourth down. Shouldn't have snapped it.
Anything else for Coach?
Mike, what's gone into the decisions to defer lately at the beginning of the game?
You know, nothing in particular. We've been doing some good stuff defensively, and then also the thought of getting the ball back the second half. None of it's been weather considerations, really. Oh, no, we had the one game here where against UCLA where it was pretty clear. I think it was UCLA where it's going to be less rain the second half. We still got plenty of, you know, still came down the first half some, or the second half some too. But.
Coach, is it nice to see, nice to be back in the winning column? I know at Texas Tech you never had a losing season, came over here, a couple 3-9 seasons. Is it nice to just see kind of that hard work start to pay off again? Or?
Yeah, well, I thought we'd go to a bowl every year here, but you know, we were the hole was bigger than I felt like it was. But we've had a bunch of freshmen play early and stuff like that to help build stuff and improve.
One more for Coach. Lindsay?
Student question, where does Halloween rank in your, like, holidays list? Are you a Halloween guy or not a Halloween guy?
I always liked Halloween. Haven't celebrated it since I started coaching football. Really, I mean, because you're doing something. Let me think. Well, one time I did get to take the kids trick-or-treating in Lexington. There was a bunch of snow, too, which was very unusual for Lexington. Yeah, and this kid started calling my daughter's friend names. So it's like you got the two girls and then the two boys, right? And they're at that age about, grade school. The two boys giving the two girls a bad time, and there happened to be snow, and this is it's unusual Halloween anyway, but very unusual for Lexington. And so they're on the porch, and I hear them kind of jawing, and I'm just doing the thing where you wander around the sidewalk and just follow along, sort of, And, well, all of a sudden, I hear my daughter yelling, the other girl yelling. She's grabbed the kid's like Grim Reaper thing. He's got like a plastic Grim Reaper. I think it was a plastic Grim Reaper thing. It might have been a sword. Anyways, it was some kind of a weapon. So she grabs the thing and she's beating him over the head with that, and then jamming his face in the snow, and then and she's just furious. And so by the time she gets from the door, and the lady at the candy thing is like sitting here like, well, I mean, everybody's having a happy Halloween, right? And these kids are like battling, wrestling in the snow, and hitting each other with Grim Reaper plastic things. She gets back. I go, what happened? She goes, that guy called my friend a name. I don't want to talk about it. And strides off to the next deal. But typically, you're doing what I'm doing on Halloween, which is you're sitting in a dark room watching a bunch of film. Had games on Halloween, too.
Can I ask how many times you've dressed up as a pirate in your life?
I can't say that I ever have. Honestly, I never have. I'm not a big costume wearer, really. I got some swords.
Do you answer the door to trick-or-treaters, or do you kind
I will if I'm there. I don't avoid it, but I don't race to it. My family's always been split. When I was a kid, I didn't care about answering the door. It was all trick-or-treating, get as much candy as possible. My oldest daughter was that way. My next daughter was kind of a door answerer. My son kind of in the middle. And my daughter now would probably be inclined to answer the door. So, but I'm ambivalent. If the door rings, I'll give them some stuff. If it doesn't, I won't. If I'm doing something, I'll yell for. I'll say Sharon, somebody's at the door, and maybe she'll answer it.
So are you prepped for tonight? You got some candy on deck?
She's got a pile of candy, but we're at the end of a thing, so we probably won't get much traffic. So, and I'll be in here watching film.